if the teams were on a razor's edge and it was going to take one little thing, and the difference between this being tied going into the day or one team being up 11 and a half to 4.5, it was going to be the details and the preparedness that the teams had from go, and you're clean our clock.
Gentlemen, welcome to another BestBall Roundtable. Here we are recapping the 2025 Ryder Cup that just finished up here recently at Bethpage Black. I would say an extremely difficult course, but I don't believe that is the case anymore. I got David Kirsch and Jonathan Hill here joining me today. Guys, how we doing?
Doing better than the U.S. team most of the time.
Better than 12-15.
That is true. That is true. Well, as we jump into this, quick thanks to our friends at Summit Golf Brands, Beach Daddy, Zero Restriction, those guys. If you use BestBall20 in the promo field, you get 20% off. And also thanks to our friends at Western Birch, scattering lots of teas here in Nebraska right now on the road. So yeah, check out westernbirch.com and use BestBall in the shipping cart. Jonathan is rocking the Landman milk carton hat there. I'll be playing there in a couple of days, so pretty excited about that. Anyway, that is some golf that I am excited about. Unlike the outcome of the Ryder Cup, U.S. lost, the European team won 15-13. However, going into today, it was a very lopsided affair. Any quick thoughts just on the overall Ryder Cup? Kirsch, start with you.
I don't know if any of them are quick, but I guess the biggest thing right out of the gate is just this is the definition of being prepared and not. It's as simple as that across the board. I'm sure we'll get into the different approaches from the captain and that thing later on, but this was if the teams were on a razor's edge and it was going to take one little thing, and the difference between this being tied going into the day or one team being up 11 and a half to 4.5, it was going to be the details and the preparedness that the teams had from go, and you're clean our clock.
Jonathan, any initial thoughts?
As we're watching it, it's frustrating. And then you start diving into some of the numbers and realize just how much really, really, really good golf was played this weekend. I mean, at one point I asked, because I don't pay attention necessarily to all the details. I'm like, hey, is there a place where I can see like where the actual scores were? And I went and looked, I'm like, wait a minute. We're playing really good golf. Like if this was a golf tournament, everyone would have been glued to the TV, like our standard tournament. There would have been 4, 5, 6 guys that have just been pulling away from the field. Incredible golf. But in the team concept, it just felt and looked so lopsided. And I unfortunately, I turned off the TV. I came back to it, but I left and turned off the TV for about 2 or 3 hours this afternoon and came back and wish I hadn't.
Yeah. I think we'll talk about this a little bit, but course setup, I think, had a lot to do with it. And Keegan was asked that in the post-round press conference. But yeah, I think you took out the difficulty of Bethpage Black and what it's known for. Widen the fairways, cut down the rough. And then on the top of that, the greens were soft. They weren't fast at all. And balls were flying in there, sticking. For some reason, the Americans couldn't control spin and were spinning them off, especially early. And then Europeans, they were putting into a different hole. Like it was like a basketball goal size hole that they were putting into, because they were making everything. Except for today, they finally started missing some. But let's start there. Course setup, right? And what do y'all think about how Bethpage, you kind of heard my initial thoughts, how Bethpage was one, talked about how it was going to be really, really hard, and two, actually how it played.
Well, obviously there's the sign that says this is difficult whenever you come and play. And so I think I had different expectations. And then about halfway through Friday, my question started. The question I had in my head was, are these guys that good, which they are, or is the course somehow just that much easier? And that was obviously a conversation for the weekend. But even there were times where it's like, wow, they're that good. What was it? Was it Hatton that hit the stick and just split it? Like they were making shots out of places. John Rahm had that shot that basically no one should have been able to get a ball out, and yet it still was a clean shot. And the flip side of that too is both teams got to play. on the exact same course, and one team took advantage of it and another one didn't. And I don't know if that's changing their tactics in the middle, like Kirsch mentioned, the spin and stuff like that, or if they should just been playing a little bit better golf than what they did. But there are times I don't at a regular tournament on a weekend, I'm watching golf going, I could never in my life play there. And then this week I was like, oh well, I mean, if you got it on the green, it's gonna stop and it doesn't look like it's gonna roll off. And I have no spin on my shot, so I didn't have to worry about that. So
I just don't know how you can have any. I I'm trying to think of like the best way to talk about the course setup and leave it at just as a course setup, but this is a systemic failure from the PGA of America to the point that they should give up their license to host the event. It is
shots
an
fired.
abject embarrassment of an organization. The DP World Tour is running circles around them. The PGA Tour is now running circles around them. I would venture to say that even the 54 boys can set up a golf tournament better than them. What they did at Quail was silly. You're coming to New York and you can't even get the course prepared for 1 day of rain. They have 1 day of rain in the last 14 days, and it ruined the entire tournament. The cutting down of the rough, Egan said it in the press conference afterwards. It wasn't even like a data thing. It was just like, this is what I think is going to be best because my players bomb and gouge. Well, then you know what you need to do? You need to tell your players on the same holes that the Europeans clearly told their players, it's better to have an approach shot from this rough on this course, on this green, because you can't spin it off when you're hitting it from the rough. When you hit it from the rough, you're going to throw it a little bit higher and you're going to be able to land and stop, and it's not going to spin. They, on day one, they missed the fairway. They won 16 holes from the rough. And we were in the fairway on 8 of those. Why did they win it? Because their ball hit and stopped and our ball spun off the front of the green, or it spun from the back and it didn't make it down the next tier or whatever it was. But why did it do that? Because we weren't prepared, because we had a silly captain's choice, because we had, this whole thing is a joke. Whole thing was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
And honestly, it wasn't Keegan's fault.
No,
He was put in a position that was terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just reading a little more on the quotes from the presser. He said, "I definitely misstated this at Keegan. I've definitely made a mistake on the course setup. I should have listened a little more to my intuition. For whatever reason, that wasn't the right way to set it up. Greens were as soft as I've ever seen greens without raining. Especially here, it can get pretty firm. They've never firmed up." And then someone asked him, "You said your intuition. Did the data say to cut the rough?" And he said, I did, and looked at a lot of info. We thought this was the best way to set up the golf course to win. And yeah.
So what kind of influence did he have then?
He had too much.
Is this him literally saying, I can set this up however I want?
Yes, this was the problem.
Why?
Why can he? Because Luke Donald did. Listen to what, I don't know if you heard the podcast from Friday night. Max Homa was on a podcast and he was talking about Rome. And he said, if you looked at the data, we owned 50 to 150 yards. Every single par 4 in Italy was set up so that the second shot, it was either a drivable par 4 where everybody was pitching and putting, or the second shot was from 180 yards to 220 yards. Why was that? Because the Euros were awesome from 180 to 220 and the Americans weren't. And that's how every tee box, every par 4, everything was set up to that point. And here we have these chuckles running this so that they can make money and not win the actual event. And it all goes back to the fact that they picked Keegan because of a Netflix show. It goes back to the fact that they picked Keegan after 2 total appearances 10 and 12 years ago. He has no idea how to do the course setup. He has no idea how to set up a lineup. He has no idea how to listen to statisticians. He had John Wood was supposed to be leading from like a general manager standpoint, almost like a Jerry Colangelo from the Team USA basketball. Keegan basically kicked him out of the room. I was like, no, it's just me and the captains. We're making all of these choices. And I understand Keegan's mindset. It's the wrong one. He made poor choices. He did things wrong as the captain, but he should have never been there. And the fact that the PGA of America did this is unbelievable, yet completely predictable.
Well, let's talk about this then. He was put in a bad spot. And I don't think the PGA of America is going to not be running the Ryder Cup for the U.S. side. So let's do this. Before we pick and talk about who we think or the direction they should go for captain, if you could change one thing that was done from a captain perspective, and then you can keep one thing that was done, is there one that you would change, one that you would keep?
Who was it that he ran back out trying because they had an idea they were going to be better? Like,
Harris English and Morikawa.
You can't listen. They might be friends with them, but you can't go back after you get smoked that bad. I think there's no way. There's no way that you can just tell someone, I think we're going to do better this time. You had 18 holes. Well, actually probably like 15 holes because they didn't make it all the way to get better. I don't understand that. Like, if you were winning, you run it back.
So you're saying change from this time or from like
from this time? Like, is there one thing that Keegan or the U.S. team did that you would say, all right, good decision, I'll keep that? You like those Monday practice round shirts, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even like the uniforms.
Curses.
I thought the lineup today was laid out properly for a comeback. I thought it was lined up exactly how it needed to be lined up, because I do wish that it was more of the President's Cup where it was this guy versus this guy and it would ping pong back and forth and they could pick. But knowing not much and just trying to set your lineup for the best chance to win, I thought that was a good choice. I think every other choice he made, I mean, and it's not just the Harris English and Morikawa. That one stands out because it was statistically the worst combination of two players that you could have, and you did it twice. Like,
right. Yeah. The twice part.
The first
part, you're like, okay.
That's tough. But on day one, not only did that happen, but they messed up Henley and Scheffler on which tees.
Yep.
The Europeans they were genuinely laughing out loud because in their team room when they saw the pairings, because they had 12 different combinations, we only paired up one of the combinations that they had predicted as their top 12 teams to face in session one. Think about that.
That's
the
funny.
Europeans ran their models and they said, these are the top 12 teams that we should expect to face. And we put out exactly one of those pairings. And it was Xander and Cantlay. That's it. Okay. Just Xander and Cantlay. Everything else, because as soon as they put Henley, and they anticipated a Henley Scheffler, but it should have been Scheffler hitting off the odds, and they didn't do it. I mean, it was just like, we could not get out of our own way to the point that we were what is the Stats Inc., which was the big baseball firm that they're really good at stats. They're on the payroll. And we told them we're good. We're good. Like, it's just everything old is new again.
It doesn't make sense because it's not like we don't have every single shot that all of these players have done in the last 10 years on record, that someone could literally go, hey, guess what? On this dogleg left, he's going to struggle. We should just simple stuff like that, like ball flights of who does what.
But how can, I guess, okay, so here's where I've gotten to. Now, you just kind of laid it out right in front of me and it all made sense. How can we get upset about them making those choices when 7 weeks ago our captain was trying to make the bloody team because we chose the wrong guy?
Instead of him focusing on...
He spent the last 18 months trying to make the team because he had his feelings hurt on Netflix.
Yeah, but you can't do two things at once.
No.
Why not?
Luke Donald has spent the last 18 months thinking about nothing but this. He changed out the sheets at the hotel because they weren't good enough. He changed out the shampoo at the hotel because it didn't have the right fragrance and it wasn't a high enough quality for them to get a good night's sleep after. He changed the doors on the rooms because they let too much light in.
Yeah, but
the menu, they came in. You know who putted better? Europe. Everybody says Europe putted better. You know what Europe did last week for 3 days without a single person on the golf course? They went to Bethpage Black and they practiced for 3 consecutive days. You know what we did? Whatever we wanted.
Right.
Wherever we wanted.
Yeah, but that's...
You know who knew the greens more? The team that putted there for 3 days. Like, it's not complicated. They picked a captain that has thought about nothing but this for 4 years.
Did they give them
Our
the whole locations?
Our captain tried to make the team 6 weeks ago.
Did they have the whole locations like that? Because I know they told them at the beginning of the week they had all the whole locations for all of the rounds.
Yeah,
Did
but
they
they're
know
not
that 3 days
Everybody
before?
had them. Everybody had them by Monday. They're not very big greens.
Right.
Bethpage's greens are all subtle breaks. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, but 3 extra days is going to give you all the time in the world to figure out the Bethpage greens.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So where do we go from here for captains?
Oh, I was
Like,
going to say,
how do
hell,
we
we go to
find?
Ireland. That's the
Yeah.
only option. We go to Ireland.
How do we find a captain that can turn this around? And I heard somebody saying, like, why did we flip the script from what we did at Whistling? Right? Like, seemed like we had a plan, and then maybe because of the Netflix thing, we switched it completely on the we had another bad, just a blowout there in Rome, and we switched everything completely and went with a unproven leader for the captain. So where do we go?
Clearly, got to have somebody outside. I think you bring in somebody outside of the tour right now. I mean, it's cliche, but don't you bring out Tiger?
It's going to be next one's going to be Tiger and Justin Rose. It's
Right.
pretty much already a done deal. It's out of Dare Manor. The guy that owns the Dare Manor's got all the money in the world. I would imagine that the Euros are going to go Rose for the next 2. I think that they like the model of getting a captain, getting their first one on home soil with their second one
Makes sense.
on the road so that they're more prepared and they can do all the little things. And then I think that Tiger's going to be a one and done in Ireland or wherever a Dare Manor is. And then I think
the co-captain. So that I would assume it's a smart way to do it, right? Co-captain would be the next person so that they've gone through an experience. Do you think they'll do that, or do you think they'll skip it?
Would you pick any of the U.S. co-captains right now to be your captain?
No, but I'm saying Tiger's co-captain. Like, you should be preparing for the next one if he's not going to do it for twice.
Yeah, but even the Euros don't do that very much. It's usually not, you don't usually go from assistant captain to captain very often. You're either kind of a lifetime assistant captain in the sense of like, or you're an assistant captain after the fact. Like Luke Donald will be an assistant captain for Justin Rose.
Yeah.
Just like Dodo Molinari and Paul McGinley are captains for, or assistant captains or strategic advisors for Luke Donald. It's more Thomas Bjorn, he's assistant captain while he was captain for Ryder Cup together.
I'm guessing you don't invite Keegan back in as assistant then for you, Kirsch?
Honestly, if Tiger doesn't want it, I would run Keegan back.
Really?
Yeah. Why not? At least he knows kind of what to expect now.
Is this like the George Costanza? Just whatever you decide, do the opposite?
Well, I think you at this point, he still couldn't make the team this year. I don't think he's not going to make it in 2 more years.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you say, hey, like, look, man, go be the captain for the next 2 years and really learn how to do this stuff and take some feedback, take some stuff. The worst thing that happened was them coming back today. That was the worst thing that could have possibly happened for the U.S. Ryder Cup team. Because now they all think they're right. Now they all think they were this close and all of that stuff, and they weren't. And, if it's not Keegan or Tiger, it's got to be a one and done because I think they need to figure out a way to do the back-to-back years, start at home and second one on the road. But, I mean, who are you going to go get? Kuchar?
Phil Mickelson.
This was supposed to be Mickelson-Poulter.
I know.
The Bethpage one was always going to be Mickelson-Poulter. And those two...
I was thinking about it today, like, bring Mickelson back. Like, he's
he has no chance.
I know.
He has no chance. I just think it's hilarious that the European media is sitting there going, oh, well, you guys in America, you took all of the money. You're all about the money. And it's like Tyrrell Hatton, John Rahm took the bloodiest of money. So maybe we should chill out on them getting 500K. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. What's Tiger going to do? Right. Like, I mean, is he going to listen? Is he going to be the one that uses, Eduardo Molinari, like MVP for the European team? Like, I don't know, like just providing the stats, like helping coach Luke and be there. And then
that's
Luke, and learning and like putting his guys in position to win.
That's where I think Tiger could actually do it. I think he could set the foundation. It's going to depend for Tiger. He's doing all of this different stuff for the PGA Tour, and now he's on the competition committee thing, and he's doing all of that. And I don't know, but he's taking it, like, from anything that you can read from anywhere, he's taking it very seriously. He is pouring a lot into it. So if this goes on for another, 6 to 8 months, and Brian Rollup and the PGA Tour, they kind of get everything figured out by the summer of next year, that's about the time that they're going to announce the captains for 18 months later. Tiger jumps on that. Tiger's going to listen to a John Wood. He's going to bring those guys in because those John Woods, those Bones, those guys, they are in the Tiger clique. You know, he'll bring back a Stricker. He'll also get a couple of the younger guys. I guarantee you he will get somebody like a Ricky Fowler to be an assistant captain that is, if he doesn't make the team, like he will have a contemporary that has actually played in the Ryder Cup, unlike Kevin Kisner, who is an absolute joke for even being there. But I think that Tiger can set it up for the future because I think he will listen to the analytics. I think that he will set it up. He went and was a playing captain, and I understand it's the President's Cup, but they did everything they needed to do on an away President's Cup with him as captain. He set the lineups. He set people down. You know, he dealt with Patrick Reed's caddy punching a fan. Like, he did it all, and it was completely fine. I think that Tiger can set it up, and I think the guy's name's Jimmy Dunn. I don't know, something like that, who owns Adair Manor. I think it's set up where it's going to be like a Justin Rose Tiger Woods matchup.
Yeah. And Adair, I mean, I've heard people talk about, like, if the U.S. is going to win on foreign soil, like, that's a good place to start. Like, it's probably the most Americanized type course that you'll find on the European Ryder Cup circuit. So we'll see. Jonathan, any random ideas of who you would pick?
Random ideas. Trump was out there in some golf shoes. I thought for a second he was going to be able to hit a golf ball. You know what would be interesting? If you brought in, say, the top men's and women's college organization, because they follow all the statistics and all the data, and had them help like analyzing it and pre-doing it. And I've always wondered, I'm assuming it's out there. It's got to be, right? There's no way in the world you can't pre-play all these things, right? You can type all this into a computer with the way everyone hits a ball and all the tendencies and everything else. The NFL does this 1,000 times over in terms of figuring out who's going to play what and when it's going to happen, all that kind of stuff. Surely we can come up with, a number of people that are going to be in the top whatever, and then the extra people that we might pick. And once that's set, you could gamify the thing on a computer. So maybe bring in a data center, some nerd that has nothing to do with golf whatsoever, and says, this is what's going to happen. Kirsch, you might know, how did the European group come up with the 12 people, the 12 groups that they were expecting?
Well, it's just how Data Golf said that English and those guys were the 132nd. Like, you can model it out just like you're saying.
Right.
But like, if you want to get super weird, you got to have like, so they took Ludwig a couple of years ago after being on tour for 4 months. You're telling me we wouldn't have gotten more out of a Jackson Coyven, Gordon Sargent, Luke Clanton than we did Ben Griffin this year? Like, no, like, I'm all Ben Griffin. Great story. Totally great. Yep. I'm happy for you. But Europe brought back 11 guys for a reason.
Right. They're preparing
and they set
for the
it
future.
Up for a reason.
Yeah.
If they would have had, I think somebody from NLU had it. Like, think about Max Homa. Max Homa's a killer. He's like 9-3-3 in the last 3 team events that he's played in. He loved this. Did he have a good year? Nope. Did that ever stop the Europeans from making their system switch to we're going to take Poulter no matter what he's doing. We're going to take Garcia kind of no matter what. If we were in that same boat, we would have been saying since the US Open, if Max can put it together and he gets it to the BMW, he's somebody that we would really have to look at for this team and, all of those type things. And then it's on Max, and Max can make it or not. But we would have been thinking of those things. We would have been looking to go in those directions.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what we're doing.
Yeah, do you really think that the distraction of Keegan trying to make the team at the same time is the number one reason?
Without a doubt, 100%. I mean, no. Wait, depends on what you're saying. Do I think that harmed his captaincy after he was chosen to be captain? Yes. He should have never been chosen to be captain, ever. By all accounts, after Zach Johnson was so bad, I think Gabby Herzig had this in an article for The Athletic. He was so bad that they came back in and decided we're going to blow this whole thing up. And in that, people brought 3 different names to the meetings, including Keegan Bradley and Ricky Fowler were 2 of the 3 names. Like, that's how ridiculous this organization is. These aren't serious people making serious decisions. It's just not. And you get what you put into it.
Right.
and this is the effort that they put in with people writing down names. Like Spieth would have been on this team if we were Europe. Homa would have been on this team if we were Europe, because those guys cared about being here. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sorry. It just, we're not serious about this. We act like we are. We talk tough. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I guess kind of shifting a little bit. Quick thought on the crowds. I know we talked about it going in. We were hoping it wouldn't get carried away. What were your thoughts on the crowds?
I'm assuming most of us have watched Rory's presser after, or at least seen some of the comments on social media, and I thought what he said was exactly right. Like, this is golf. This isn't like Raiders or the dog pound in Cleveland. Shout out to Kirsch. You've got to fix that, right? And he even talked about how it wasn't even helpful for your team because you weren't cheering your team on. You were just mouthing off to us. And at some point, don't you look to someone and go, hey, they're winning. Like, they're killing us. Maybe we should chill out on antagonizing them. You can't make everything Augusta, right? I remember someone mentioning about getting the hole and all the stupid things that people say. I was on number 4 this year at the Masters, and somebody yelled something stupid, and literally the Richmond County police officer, he's like, this is my hole. I've been here for 12 years. No one does that at my hole. And he went and grabbed those guys and almost kicked them out because they yelled like, I don't even think they yelled get in the hole. It wasn't even that dumb. It was just like after a shot was taken, they yelled something. And you want there to be more, right? At a Ryder Cup event, you want it to be a little rowdy, but you don't want to turn it into waste management. And it felt like it was pretty close to waste management.
The waste management is 50 times better than what happened this weekend. It's because it's all in good fun.
That's true.
All in good fun.
Yeah.
This was, but I'm beating the dead horse. It goes back to PGA of America has been saying for 2 years. They've been saying it for 6 years. Wait until 2024, 25. We're going to be at Bethpage Black, and it's going to be the raucous crowd. It's going to get wild in there. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be all of this stuff. Like, what did you expect to happen when you're going to overfill the place because you're going to sell all of these tickets for all of this money? You have too many people in there. You can't possibly police it when it's that spread out. And you're sitting there saying it. I mean, it's just, it's extremely predictable and really sad because it's not always been like this. And I don't even think it'll be like this moving forward, but you can't put it in New York and then tell everybody how crazy it's going to be and show highlights of Sergio getting heckled and expect things to go differently. I think I've said it before. I went to the '08 Ryder Cup in Kentucky. It's the single greatest sporting event I've ever been to. We won it. It was, but there was nothing screwed. There was nothing. It was American fans cheering for American fans and American players. And yeah, when they rolled off the green, did we jeer them? 100%. Did the Euros do that to us? Yep. Did we go back and forth with some funny jokes? Did they make fun of us for only having one song? 100%. But it was all in good fun. But when you ask for this is what you get.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. It was I don't know if you guys were as an American golf fan, just embarrassing. Like, I feel bad, like, calling out, like, expletives or saying all the horrible things towards an actual player, thinking that that's going to be the, what are you going to tell somebody later? Hey, I yelled this at Rory. He missed his shot, and look at me, I'm good. Like, it's embarrassing. And if you couldn't figure it out, it was fueling Shane Lowry, one with rage, but he turned it into, I'm just going to dominate you guys even more now. So those guys, that's another thing I think that Luke Donald did incredibly well, was coach his players and prep them for, you guys are going to hear the worst things ever. Just let it roll off your backs. And they did it for as long as they could. But it was not fun.
I think it's going to be really interesting going back to the captains, because I was trying to come up with a better answer. And it really stinks. It stinks for the Europeans that they've lost Stenson, Garcia, Poulter, and Westwood to the 54 tour, because I don't think that any of them are going to be welcome back anytime soon. If you sit back and you go, man, who have we lost? And we haven't used Tiger yet, but we lost Phil, we lost DJ, we lost Koepka, we lost Bubba. Those are 4 guys with 20 plus Ryder Cups combined, and they're just gone. Hunter Mahan, That's who I would go get if Tiger says no. I would go get Hunter Mahan, and
Really?
I'd sign him to a 2-year, 2 Ryder Cup agreement.
Interesting.
That's who I would go get.
You would go get Happy Gilmore's body double.
Yep. Without even a question. Because other than that, you're looking at Webb Simpson, Matt Kuchar, and Stuart Sink.
Is there a write-in option for Kirsch to be some type of coach in the middle of this? Who do we got to talk to? We're meeting a lot of people in the golf world. All right, PGA show next year, Kirsch. We're gonna find the person that we need to talk to make sure you get on the call with them and lay it out, and then you're gonna go work at you're gonna turn around the PGA, 100%.
When what you're doing and what you're looking at isn't based on dollars and cents, and you just care about winning, it's amazing how different your decisions can be.
Yeah, but you know how to squeeze money out of it too. I bet you can. Well, yeah, we're gonna get you in.
Yep. All right. Well,
Kirsch for president.
We could talk about. We had stats and things going back and forth over the weekend.
So, yeah,
just with how well the Europeans were playing.
Which is something I do think, Robbie, I think you're dead right. Like, we should highlight that. Like, I think I put it out there on Friday morning in Alt Shot. The Euros went -16 and won 3-1.
Right.
On Saturday morning, the US went -16 and lost 3-1. And because the Euros went -22. And what they did, I thought Brandel said it really, really well. Nobody said Ernie Els played bad at the 2000 US Open when he came in second and 15 shots behind Tiger Woods.
Right.
Nobody said, wow, Ernie played poorly. No, Ernie played great. He won the real tournament. He just didn't win the one that had the best golfer playing the best golf anyone had ever played in the history of the game. And that was part of the problem. But when you're on the razor's edge and the margins on Friday, Saturday afternoon, we were texting about it back and forth. And when the margin is razor thin and literally 3 shots separate the two groups, but you lose again 3-1, I mean, at some point it becomes a systemic problem.
And to go into the putting, like I'll always say, like Justin Rose, and statistically a lot of these guys, when it's Ryder Cup time, they are the best putters on the planet in the history of golf. Like I'll remember, I don't even know which one it was, but probably 10, 12 years ago, Justin Rose sank some ridiculously long putt, maybe on 18, and just had that cold stare of like, look what I did, right? And he just does that all the time. So
that was Saturday night at Medina.
Yeah.
That it was him and Poulter that flipped those 2 matches on Saturday night. And that was another thing. I mean, it goes on and on and on. McGinley said it. I think one of the things that you looked at for that Saturday afternoon, Europe changed their sessions around. Part of the reason they changed their sessions around, even though they had the big lead, was when the U.S. had the big lead at Medina, they sat their 3 top point getters from the first 3 sessions because they had played in them all. And then Europe snuck in those last 2 points going into singles. They closed the gap to 9-4 or 9-5, and then they were able to go from there. And they talked about it, and they changed up their session 4 pairings, and they rode Rory, and they rode Rahm, and they rode those guys. They sat Rasmus again, or one of the Højgaards, whoever it was.
Yeah.
They sat them because they went back and they said, we're not going to let this get closer. We're going to put our foot down right now. This is where we make the line in the stand. They learned from that. Why? Because they had all the same people making the same decisions. It's just crazy how that works.
Yeah. And the thing about Luke Donald, if he does hand it over to Justin Rose, is he's going to be handing a giant playbook of here's what to do. Copy and paste, right?
These are the doors you're looking for at the hotel.
Well, Adair Manor is probably already outfitted with the best.
Towels tucked underneath that way no light gets gapped in.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, any other final comments as we wrap this one up?
I feel like we have to represent Decker since he's not here. Who would you choose to have a beer with from which team? Not the whole team, just a person that you'd like to have a beer with after watching all this happen. That was his only, it was his only, whoever, it was his only thing throughout the entire weekend. Yeah, but who would you like to have a beer with? So who would you like to have a beer with? My answer is obvious. Tommy Fleetwood is my spirit animal, and I'm more inspired after watching his golf this weekend. Not inspired enough to get a haircut, but pretty close to it.
There was somebody in the crowd that he walked over and took a picture with. They said they found his doppelganger.
Don't tease me. Otherwise, we're going to Ireland in 27.
I would say Rory.
Rory?
Yep. I think I don't know if I put it in ours or not, but that remains my I think my hottest take of the year. That Rory's demeanor change after winning the Masters was all intentional, and it was all about this Ryder Cup. I think I went back and I read the article from after the last Ryder Cup, maybe, and it was like complete the Grand Slam by winning the Masters, win an away Ryder Cup, and win an Olympic medal. Those are the three things I have to do. He checked the Masters box, and then his demeanor changed. Like everything about how he acted, talked, prepared, everything changed. I really truly believe that it happened solely for the purpose of winning this Ryder Cup and being so mentally strong for it. And I think he's going to go back to being affable Rory, and I think we're going to get good quotes out of him again. We did in the press conference. I think he's still fired up, but I think he feels like he can walk on water now on the PGA Tour, and I think he's going to get that privilege. And I'd like to talk to him about it over a beer.
Yeah. No, I think him or Lowry, I think it would be fun to have a beer with.
So no Americans.
I mean, you only said pick one.
Yeah. I mean, Rory would be number one. JT would be pretty awesome. Whether you like him or not, I'd like to hear the stories. I think he's got good stories. JT does care. And that's the one thing I talk about all the time. I just want athletes to care. At this point in my life, that's all I want. I don't care how much money you make. I just want you to care.
Yep. All right, good question, Jonathan.
My parting shot, I'm going to use it for my Cleveland Guardians, the first team in Major League Baseball history, which there's a lot of, came back from 15 and a half games back, which no team has ever done in the history of the sport to win their division. And no matter what happens after that, we've got that.
There you go.
First round.
Congrats to your Guardians. If they end up playing the Red Sox, they're going to get crushed.
More than likely, but we play the Tigers first week.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, guys, it's been fun. Sorry Decker wasn't here. My buddy Brandon is right here hanging out.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
Any commentary?
I think y'all said it all.
Yeah, we've been talking. So yesterday while watching us just get pummeled, our plan flew into Omaha. We're like, we're gonna go to a sports bar, watch the Ryder Cup. It's gonna be awesome.
Nope.
We went there and sat there for about an hour and a half, and then said, "Let's go find a golf course." And so we went and played golf. And then today we kind of kept track of it. We're like, you know what? After we finish, we might just sit in the clubhouse here and watch the rest of it, and we did. So yeah, it's been a good time. So anyway, I voted Brandon captain of the next one. So he's got some good takes. We'll get him on one of these here soon. Anyway, guys, it's been fun. As always, we'll find something else to jump on and do another BestBall Roundtable about. But until then, David, Jonathan, y'all have a good one.